hello. I thought I could be a bit kind and do both the musical thing and the time-lapsey thing, but also maybe show you a bit of the instruments that I'm using. This one is one that I'm particularly fond of because it's a bunch of cowbells that are strung onto or like hooked to each other. So like every bell hits the next one. It sounds something like this. And the cool thing about this is that I found this at a flea market like 2 weeks ago, and I think it sounds really amazing. And it was one of these incidents where you see it and the guy is asking too much for it. He wanted like $15 or something. And then I walked away and I looked at some 7-inch singles or something, and I started thinking, okay, so this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cowbells on a string with a cow, a deer, and all these engravings on the bells. How much would this instrument cost in a music store? And is there such an instrument in a music store? No, there isn't. So I actually walked back and I gave him whatever he asked for them because I thought they were cool. And now with a bit of luck, they're going to be on the Gösta Berlings Saga album and a bunch more albums. Because they sound great. There you go. Hi, so I thought I could continue with one of my, I'd say, like, I think I have a tendency of saying one of my favourite instruments, but I think that's just because I like the instruments that I use so much. But this is a tambourine with a drum head, and as I come from a classical background and played a lot of orchestra, there's a lot of, of that going on, which I always enjoyed because I thought it was so cool to use tambourines instead of snare drums and all of that. And there's all sorts of tricks you can do, which you can do as an effect with if you want to do like a backward snare drum thing, but you don't want to do a backward snare drum thing because it's too obvious. You can just do this into the snare drum head. But on this one I just which is far more interesting if I just go, and even if it's not necessarily heard in the final mix, I know it, and guess what? You guys know it. So there you go. Yes, so I'm going to continue with the darbuka, which is a Middle Eastern hand drum, which I think that you're actually supposed to play like that if you're really good at it, but as I'm pretty useless at it, I play it like a bongo or whatever. And the cool thing about that is, I mean, for one thing, it's fairly tonal, which is always interesting and fun. But the cool thing is when you record multiple darbukas, and Thomas has got one as well, so I might be doing another take of this and then Thomas's. And then I'm going to do something cool, but I'll show you that later. Yes, so I've done my 3 darbuka takes, and now I'm pulling them out through the amp, which sounds obviously even cooler than the original sound. And the idea of this is, of course, to give the darbukas more edge and more of a sonic framing, which means that in the final mix it's going to be fairly easy, I think, to either use, you can use both, but if you just want something aggressive and rhythmic, that would work. Okay. Alright, cool. So I thought I could give you a sort of walkthrough of what's going on here. Hopefully I've been nice enough to give you a sort of mix that you listen to during the intro and all of that. Alright, but we'll start off with, I always build from the bottom up, so you can have almost use it as view it as a drum kit, but divided in parts. And so I started off with using 2 22-inch bass drums that Jesper built for me, and I'm playing. And they sound pretty good like that, but they're mostly the bassist and to push Alex's drum kit forward. Maracas, listen to both. Oh, thank you. And then the dreaded octobuns. Maracas, adding a cowbell. That was with Alex's drums at the end, so you get that full. It's like. And they have all these options of to arrange it and to make it work in and become dynamic and interesting and exciting, which is what you want. Which is, I mean, percussion is so good for that. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed this. I did.